Taking a middle path excludes you from being a sinner or a saint. Dearly beloved in Jesus Christ, welcome to the reflections of 6th Ordinary Sunday, Year A. Let me begin this with the example of father of the existentialism, Soren Kierkegaard. Soren Kierkegaard wrote a book titled Either or. In this book, he clearly explains what is being righteous and what is being orderly. He refused to marry his own girlfriend whom he loved because he thought he cannot stay with her lifelong in the same phase of love. And also, he doesn't want to show a mediocre type of love to her. So he denied, saying, either I'll be completely loving you or I will live my life with others. Today's liturgy of the word helps us to meditate upon a very important notion, which is either or. In today's gospel passage, Jesus speaks about the commandments, which he says, I have not come to abolish them, I have come to fulfill them. In this connection, I would like to put forth my reflections saying there is no middle path for spirituality. There is no mediocre way of life in spirituality. Modern minds hold an interpretation of their own sins as anything that violates human love. There are in the world many self-made prophets and saints who are a new law unto themselves, inventing their own doctrines as new age style of life. In one TV shows, I heard one participant replying to a question, do we need to teach morality in public schools? She said, in this age of science and technology, why talk about morality? What is after all the morality? The problem with the modern generation is we water down the spiritual norms that were given for us in the scriptures. Or in simple terms, let me say, we put it into our own connotations, give our own interpretations. And often that leads to a middle path philosophy or a middle path spirituality. That's why I said in the beginning, being a middle path will exclude you from being a sinner or a saint. In today's first reading, the liturgy stresses the dichotomy of existing in the world and how it encroaches into human lives. It is the dichotomy of good and evil, life and death, light and darkness. It is indeed a fundamental and very necessary choice humans have to make in order to be blessed. God wanted us to make use of our freedom in this regard and find success. When God wants us to be choosy, most of us misinterpret it in a wrong way. This was true in life of Jewish people. Their religious leaders and experts had interpreted the voice of life and formulated them into the commandments and later interpreted them according to their own environment. When Jesus came with full authority vested on him by the Father as he ascertained, he interpreted the God-given laws and handed over them to his church. In the gospel today, we hear 4 of his interpretations on the commandment of Yahweh according to the end times. As he emphasized, he did not come to abolish those laws but to fulfill them. This means he was anxious to bring them back to their roots and basics. In his time, Jesus found out most of the ingredients in the Torah were mere human inclusions and insertions, not based on God's revelation. Therefore, he was concerned with the inner attitude with which a law should be obeyed rather than their own outward implementation. For example, he wanted us to love our neighbors even if they turned out to be hostile to us. He expected us to possess purity of heart in all our sexual relations and not just avoid sin of adultery. Regarding making the oath in the name of God, he went further and added that we should never make an oath on God's image. In simple terms, Jesus gave the real spirit of the commandments, whereas the leaders of those time interpreted them according to their whims and fancies and according to their need. For example, the evangelist Mark speaks about one of that instances in chapter 7 verses 11, where the commandment to take care of your parents is watered down according to their whims. According to them, if any man says, the money or the property that I need to use to take care of my parents is korban, which means dedicated to the temple or God, he is free from the responsibility of taking care of his aged parents. But this is what the leaders of those time preached. And against this spirit of spirituality, Jesus comes with a real notion, and he takes us back to the original root from which it is intended. Jesus demands from us not mere peripheral choice on good or bad, but a fundamental one that is stable and spirit oriented. As a matter of fact, all of us are turned to make choices that are very peripheral. For example, Jesus tells, deny yourselves if you want to follow me, either God or man, holy or unholy. Therefore, dear friends in Jesus Christ, from the 6th Sunday of the ordinary season, we need to learn one important lesson. There is no middle path for spirituality. Either you are holy or unholy. There is no middle path. Now think whether you are holy or unholy. Let God bless us all. Have a blessed Sunday.